Welcome to this edition of Las Películas Sábados Gigantes at the Cinemarijuana Theatre. It's a very, very special podcast here today because this is our long overdue wrap-up podcast for our recently deceased theme, our recently deceased version of Cinema Under Glass. You blew it, Oscar. We didn't have a chance before to sort of discuss the theme as a whole and sort of the little, mini film school we had on this particular subject. So that's what we are here to do today. And also, but not limited to, finding out some answers about Shane, which has been a curiosity. John's back with us. Also, Chris is back from the dead.
He has risen. He rose from his grave.
He is risen.
So he's never going to stop spending money.
So let's
altered feast.
Let's go around clockwise and introduce ourselves. Starting with me, I'm Ed.
I'm Zeb.
I'm Garrett.
I'm Kenzie.
I'm John.
I'm Crispy.
I'm Condi.
I'm Matt.
All right, yes, and we are joined by none other than Garrett Chaffin-Karai with us today. Special guest here. We are doing this before the actual film we'll watch today. We still know what we're going to see today that we'll podcast about later, but we're doing this first to get it out of the way. So before we get into the meat of You Blew It, Oscar, John, we need to hear from you on why you picked Shane and what you think about Shane and what are you going to give it.
Well, okay. First off, hand me that piece. Because I got I got some birthday kush.
Okay. Forgive me. What a faux pas.
I tell this tale. Okay, well, so Shane's one of those movies that gets referenced a lot. Maybe not so much these days, but I know ever since I was a kid, the whole Shane come back thing. I've heard it like a million times. Right? There's a villain in the 1966 Batman TV series named Shame, who is a cowboy-themed villain, and they even. Oh, hey, nice. Once with the knowledge there, Zeb. And once again, they do a Shame comeback thing at the end of that. So I was trying to pick a movie, and I was looking at the Wikipedia. And I won't say what movie it was, so it might be a future pick, but I went on to see if it was available on Netflix. And when I went up there, it was like, now added, like Shane, right? And I'm like, oh, hey, I've never seen that. And I should, check that out at some point. So I added it to my list. And then went back to Wikipedia, and then I saw that the year that it came out, which I forget now.
1953.
Okay, 53. It was nominated but didn't win. And it was like, oh, so it almost kind of seems sort of like a sign, like maybe this was the opportunity to see it. And I guess.
It's what Jesus wanted.
Well, and I almost, we always try to push people to think outside the box, right? And so I thought, maybe I would change up my usual habit of trying to pick something that I've seen but as few other people have seen that I think is really good. And I thought maybe I'd take a page from like Jason Land's book.
And pick something you hadn't seen.
And I hadn't seen that
take a chance.
Yeah, on my list. And that, that in theory, because it was referenced so often, and I think it's got almost 5 stars on Netflix. I think it's 4 point something.
It's pretty highly rated.
Yeah, so I thought, okay, we'll go out on a limb and I'll try something I haven't seen. So obviously it didn't fit for me the should have won but didn't.
Right.
Because I hadn't seen it. And I actually haven't seen the thing that won that year either.
Right, which was...
Yeah. So that wasn't part of the pick. It was just the fact that it was nominated and didn't win, and I'd always wanted to see it.
Okay, excellent. Now having cleared that mystery up, what did you think of Shane?
Well, I liked it. There's a few caveats with that. It's funny, like, it was interesting, I thought, how easy Shane could have stepped into the dad's, like life.
Right.
Had he have been killed, like, it's like, you figure that for, the body literally would have been cold before he was tucking the son into bed. And then, having his way with the mom, Like, don't worry, Shane will take care of your wife.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like that thing, like at the end of the Treasure of the Sierra Madre, the one guy, Cody, dies... And then the other dude is going to go take care of his wife.
Yeah.
In the biblical sense.
Well, and it's just interesting how, like, I don't know, like, you bring, like, an honest-to-God cowboy into your house, and it's like, maybe that's not such a good idea.
Right.
The kid was really annoying, and I think
thank you.
and that was the thing that killed it for me. I hate kids in movies for the most part, and it's like and like you just gotta kid, do you gotta get so over the top with it? Like I could see Shane like face palming over like when he's like, I like Shane more than Daddy. That's cool, right?
For some reason,
like, do you have to go there, kid? You got to make it uncomfortable for everybody.
For some reason, I kind of picture that kid as growing up to be Glenn Campbell in True Grit. Like, I don't know, because Glenn Campbell came across like kind of like dopey to me in that movie.
Sure.
Like, so
well, that kid did seem like he'd been kicked by a mule at some point. Got kicked by a mule, went cross-eyed, and fell in a well, and then it fixed him. But I would give it. I give it 3 stars.
Okay.
It's a low 3.
Okay.
but it's a 3.
Okay. All right. I guess I should actually mention right now that it is also John's birthday. Well, technically it was yesterday, but today's the official celebration.
Well, I was born at 10:30 at night, so it hasn't quite been 24 hours.
So depending on what part of the world you're in, you still have time to celebrate.
So that's why we'll be drinking
Jump
tonight.
on it. Okay. All right. So with the Shane mystery concluded, let's go ahead and discuss the You Blew It Oscar theme. I guess what we'll do is we'll just I'll put it out to everybody. Should we go around and do best pick, worst pick, and then most interesting or biggest surprise, like separately, or should we have everybody give theirs at the same time? Like when we go to Zeb right now, have him say which one was his best, which one is his worst, and which one is his most surprising.
I think everybody should do their best first. And then we'll just have like a big old bitch fest after that.
Well, no. Okay, in that case, let's just do best, worst, and most surprising, or most. You know what I mean? Either a biggest surprise or most interesting choice, and then we'll have time at the end to bitch about everything. Okay, so we'll start. Are you fucking done with that over there? Jesus, Chris! For fuck's sake.
This is why.
John, can you please help her?
You can't adjust this.
Shove it in. Shove it in farther so it's not. There you go. Now tilt
it in so it's
tilt it up. Tilt it up more and move it closer to you.
Get the right angle.
The bellend's just so heavy.
Yeah. There we go. The chair's got wheels. Get up on it.
Okay.
Like a bender.
Yeah, I know how to
Step
make love.
up to
Get
the
in there.
mic.
Rotate 45 degrees.
Sorry, everyone.
Pretend it's Russell Crowe from LA Confidential. Okay, all right. So starting with you, Zeb, get right up on that mic.
All right.
And give us your what you thought the best one was, what you thought the worst one was, and what you thought was the best pick or the most interesting pick or the biggest surprise to you.
Okay, the best
go.
Okay, the best one for me would have to be All That Jazz.
Oh, you're a good man, Zeb.
I give 5 stars to the movies that I could see again right after watching it.
Yes.
And after we watched it that night, I went home and I watched it again.
Right.
The next day, I watched it again, and it kind of trickled out throughout the week.
Right.
I'm like, man, because like that's what I like about this group is you get to rediscover some movies and look at movies that weren't even on your radar.
Sure.
And All That Jazz, this helped me rediscover it and figured out how much I liked it so much. So that's going to be my best pick out of this theme. Now,
Excellent.
the worst one, it's kind of difficult. Sorry, but it goes to Shane.
Damn it.
Poor Shane.
I was going to say my pick, High Noon.
but
then Shane came along with an irritating little kid.
I've
It's
gone
like
from
a-
first
Come
to
back,
worst.
Shane.
It's like his cinematic game of croquet.
Shane will
You've
never
just
do
been-
that. Shane's a good guy. The only saving grace for Shane was Jack Palance.
Yeah, he was a badass.
That as a
for
badass.
Yes,
So that would
yes.
have to be my worst. Sorry, sorry, John.
I can't blame you.
Happy birthday, John.
Happy birthday, John.
Yes.
And then the biggest surprise for me would be L.A. Confidential. And I'll say this. I went to go see Titanic in the movie theaters at the Old Man.
Yes.
We got laid.
The reel, this is back in the day of reel, kids. The reel broke.
Nice.
You were just watching it. It was like in Gremlins 2. It's just like,
Yeah,
it burned up.
Oh, awesome.
So everyone's like, oh, how does it end? Do they sing? So the management's like, sorry, folks. Sorry, folks. The the movie broke, we're going to offer you a ticket to come back and see whatever movie you like. You could come back and see Titanic again. And I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah.
So
I've seen enough.
I seen enough. And like the only part I didn't see was like the lady throwing the amulet in the ocean. So I went back and I saw L.A. Confidential. And then,
nice.
And then I snuck in to see Boogie Nights.
Which a lot of people were upset that it was really kind of snubbed.
I would
that
take
year.
Boogie Nights over
definite
Titanic
snub.
any day.
Yeah, for sure.
So it was good, and that was the last time I saw L.A. Confidential. And then I saw it again at the Cinemarijuana Theatre.
Yes.
And it still holds up. Some 20-odd years later, it still holds up. So that's the biggest surprise I have.
Okay.
And that concludes my portion.
All right. You know, it would have been cooler if that theater manager had showed up with like a copy of the script. And been like, it's okay, it's good. I've got the script. I'm going to act out the end of
the popcorn girl to act it out.
It's so bizarre because he never left. Literally, he never left. The movie theater manager of the Mans, ever since I was going, he was always there. He was always there. Then it closed. He was still there. At the Barnes & Noble, he's still there.
Get out.
What?
And like
he
I
comes
see him,
with the building?
I guess he comes he's like Sylvester Stallone in the Orange Julia skit on SNL.
I love that sketch. It's a dream
It's like
come
we
true.
can't get rid of him.
He's
He's
like a
like
ghost
collecting
haunting the
tickets
place.
and stuff. So,
Wow.
yeah, that's what I thought about the film.
Maybe he's the property owner.
Ooh.
And he's like,
What a
no, part of the
twist.
deal is I
He's
get
all,
a job.
he's all trying to sell you a vending machine.
He
It's
actually
like a Star
doesn't
Trek
even work
food
there.
computer.
Huh?
He just doesn't even work there.
He just hangs out.
He just hangs out.
He's
and
like
oh,
Kramer in that
he wants
Seinfeld.
to rip tickets. All right.
Just pretends it's his job.
Oh, man.
Okay, well, all right. Special guest Garrett. You've seen, I'm sure, a number of these films.
You should probably tell everyone what Garrett's credentials are. By the way.
Oh yeah, I guess I should tout that as
He's pretty important.
certainly the most
So-
accomplished
It's a pretty
member
big deal.
of the podcast. I had short of maybe Dr. Malice here, but their accomplishments certainly in different fields.
Well, and Zeb too.
Dr.
Zeb
Oh,
Mann
yes,
and I
yes, forgive me.
bow to
Zeb was
Garrett.
Forgive me.
also very
We
accomplished.
bow to Garrett.
But Garrett is a professor of cinema and is a published author who has written on cinema and taught it at many levels of school, right? And collegiate courses.
Always on my knees.
So yes, he is in terms of cinema. He's certainly the biggest expert here right now. So let's get. I'll start your timer going and go down this list and tell us what you think is the best one and why, the worst one and why, and the most interesting, or the one you were the most surprised by, even if you weren't here to watch it with us.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of differences from what Zeb just laid out, but I want to offer a bird walk. That the one time I've been in a movie theater when the film broke and set on fire was in the middle of War Games. And it happened at the pivotal moment in which Matthew Broderick's character is trying to stop global thermonuclear annihilation.
Yes.
And it began to light on fire. And I
so
thought,
real.
I thought at age, I guess I was 8 or 9, that I was fucked. Except that I wasn't going to be. And it was very frightening because the room went dark. There was a notable flame. We could smell it. And then my parents, for some reason, were taking me to a movie on a weeknight. And we rushed out in a crowd like you're not supposed to do, literally yelling fire.
Right.
It was very exciting that way. And it was at the Escondido Plaza. If any of you grew up in the area, it was the seedy old place now replaced by PetSmart or something. Anyway, it comes to mind with Zeb's story. So of this list, I have really strong feelings about all that jazz. It was one of the first things that I was asked to watch as a film student when I went off to school at age 18, and I thought it was the worst piece of shit. I hated it. And at 18, when I'm otherwise trying to enjoy like rewatching Roadhouse or seeing T2 for, I don't know, the 13th or 15th time, I was asked to look at that right after Citizen Kane, and they were both shitty to me. I hated them, just hated them. But you grow older, and then I became the teacher that Ed tells me that I am. and I make young people who are 18 watch it with me about 6 or 7 years ago, and I found it just heart-stopping. The manipulation of images and of sounds, the fact that you're not always sure you're dealing with a ghost or a live person, and there's a pivotal scene, maybe you talked about this, when Roy Scheider's character has a heart attack, and you go into a subjective use of sound that gives you an objective correlative to what he's feeling. in perhaps the most substantial and really icky way I've ever experienced, and it's wonderful. And then, of course, you can't tell if he's dead or not, and it goes on for another 45 minutes. So all that jazz I could watch many, many times, and probably will. I'll make a lot of 18-year-olds hate me. And I do tell them right afterwards, you're probably not enjoying this, and you probably wish you'd spent your day masturbating. I don't really say that, but I probably should.
Well,
But it's true.
If you watch this again in 15 years, you may think that I turned you on to some genius you had never expected it to enjoy, and there it is. So
Right.
I think I'll go with Zeb on that.
Okay.
And I've shown again to students, High Noon and Shane both, because it's a good illustration of what was happening 50, 60 years ago. And neither one of them ever sticks to my ribs. I dislike them both, but they're terrifically famous. They're well respected. They're much referenced, and I understand why. But here's a reference: Beatles, right? The Beatles.
Yes.
They're big. I don't care
Yes.
for them really, but I like that they've made a lot of people go do extraordinary things, and I like that stuff better. So I'll respect that they're grandpas and make everything else happen because they're in the firmament, but they're not really, to me, that good.
Right.
High Noon and Shane are exactly that. They are in the backdrop, and we should notice them, and we should realize they're there. But we should probably go watch all that jazz or masturbate more. And then the surprise on the list, and I'm glad that Kenzie, our woman, put some Wolf of Wall Street on there, because I saw that, and I earlier mentioned the idea of objective correlative, and I believe that Wolf of Wall Street is a 3-hour experience in being punished. and I think the punishment has a lot of different angles. And while I watched that movie in pieces, because I got a little one at home, and when it came out, I couldn't watch 3 hours all at once of that coarse language with a little kid in the house.
Right.
So I didn't see it all at once. And every time I dipped into it to watch a little bit more, I thought, ooh, this is leaving such a bad taste, but I want more. And I kept watching and kept watching. And my suspicion is that if I see that again in a few years or a few years later, and Martin Scorsese's heart could give out at any time. So we really might be doing retrospectives on him really soon, on what a great guy he is. That will be at the top of the list because it's got so much technique. I mean, it's flabbergasting how much cool stuff there is to look at, and all of it's unpleasant.
Yeah.
However, that's the point, I think, to really make a sort of walk over a kind of metaphor of glass and then keep watching. So that would be the surprise. Now, I did listen to much of the podcast you guys put out on LA Confidential, and I had a hoot because I could kind of envision how each of you look and what each of you sound like, which is very much like how I'm now experiencing you around a little card table here under the dinette. So that was fun, and I haven't looked at LA Confidential again since, like Zeb, I went to go see it when it came out. Thought, wow, that was really unexpectedly good. This dude from Romper Stomper is okay.
Yeah.
And,
doing a little bit of the same thing in a way. But
yeah.
Still.
It's no real reach in some ways.
Right.
And we've learned that he's kind of a prick. But anyway, that's the one I would probably go watch again because it does seem satisfying to a lot of folks. All of you seem to have a good response to it. And I have to confess, I've never seen Beckett, and I've never seen Yankee Doodle Dandy, so I miss those. Who picked Yankee Doodle Dandy?
Well, I did, but it was technically a special screening because it was on the 4th. Like, so the Saturday fell on the 4th.
Yeah.
And they show it on TCM every year on the 4th.
So we watch it every 4th of July anyway.
Okay.
And so it just happened to fall.
So you can't be an American, I think, and not have an awareness of that movie. And
right.
I've maybe seen the last 5 minutes because it's a big number.
Well, it's always on.
Everything
It's one of those always on TV. And
yeah.
Okay.
But and I was like, well, for anybody that's like, I would have watched it anyway. So just for anybody that was free, and it just so happens that it also was nominated for Best Picture and didn't win.
And that was 44? Or
42.
42. So that was How Green Was Your Valley?
It was, I've got it right here.
Or Mrs. Miniver?
Wiki.
Mrs. Miniver sounds like
Miniverse?
really, really familiar.
Mrs. Miniverse. It was Mrs. Miniver.
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
It's fun about Mrs. Miniver just as a piece of trivia. It's about this family that deals with war in Britain. Right? You've seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Oh, okay.
It got referenced a few times in MASH. So
yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
I want to go see this movie.
Totally. And, if Hawkeye's going for it, you got to go in. But what I love about it is that her son, I think, was actually her age. The actors.
Oh, yeah,
and they're
that's
supposed to
right.
be a generation apart, and I think they started fucking while they were on set.
That's funny because they weren't fucking, but in Yankee Doodle Dandy, the actress playing Cagney's George M. Cohan's mom was actually younger, the same age or younger than Cagney.
Right. He was.
But they weren't fucking, I don't think, because Cagney was really faithful.
That's too bad.
Yeah, I know, man. If Cagney had just embraced infidelity, he could have just laid waste to Hollywood, I'm sure.
Free Doodle Yankee.
Okay. All right. Kenzie the wild card. It's your turn.
Okay.
Let me start your timer here. and give us your best, worst, and most surprising or interesting. And go.
Okay, my 4 favorites.
My 4 favorites are the 4 films we watched.
So,
Sorry, go
LA
ahead.
Confidential, Wolf of Wall Street, All That Jazz, and Yankee Doodle Dandy.
All right.
But I think after really thinking about it for the last couple of hours, All That Jazz was the best.
Oh,
out of
man.
all of
Condi,
them.
Jesus, he can do no wrong.
I think followed by Yankee Doodle Dandy, because that was really fun. But anyways,
How about your 4 worst?
Well, why? Well, yeah. Well, hang on, just real quick. Why do you feel that All That Jazz edged out the others in the end after your time of reflection?
because Wolf of Wall Street was really long. So painfully long. And LA Confidential was really good, and I'd probably watch it again in a couple of years, but All That Jazz is something I could watch, like, tomorrow.
Right.
So.
Right.
And, yeah, that's pretty much it about that.
Okay, all right.
I want to interrupt a second, all right? What's the name of the song that is the audition sequence at the top of All That Jazz? You're gonna make it on Broadway or something like that?
It's that one on Broadway.
On
On
Broadway,
Broadway, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now you'll periodically hear that in public life, and when you do, you go right to that movie. And for me, I stand stock still. And I just listen to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because I reflect on that. All the jump cuts of the dancers, and Roy wearing it's got an ascot or something, right? And
Yeah.
It's wonderful. You don't hear it often, and it's not something you get on radio really. But sometimes in a department store, you'll be, I don't know, for some reason you'll be in your underpants or whatever, and then all of a sudden that song will come on.
Somebody will actually put AM Gold on the series,
and it's
and then it'll come on.
so good. I've been in that situation once with my 11-year-old. This is a great song. I'll say to her. She'll just roll her eyes. Like,
Yeah.
so lame, Dad.
Oh man.
Okay, all right. Now let's talk about your worst.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first, let's talk about who had the hottest cast.
Okay, absolutely.
Right down to
Because
brass tacks.
hands
Yes, we
down,
would meet of the matter.
We would be
Yeah.
remiss.
The sweet meat.
You won, Dr. Matlis, I'm sure.
You're probably the
Didn't he?
little boy from Shane, right?
Oh, yeah.
That little sissy boy?
Yeah.
No. He probably grew up to be a girl.
Transgender.
That's Caitlyn Jenner.
As an act of rebellion. Shane's departure just wounded him that deeply.
Yeah. Scarred him for life.
Okay, continue.
Okay. Seriously, though, the hottest guy is LA Confidential.
Of course.
Well, I think we saw that coming.
Of course, yeah.
Okay. Biggest surprise before I do my worst one. Beckett, because I didn't know a movie could be so boring.
Wow. Ouch.
Oh, Ed, go get fitted for a bra. I think you just got wounded on that one, man.
Jesus. Goodbye,
Yeah.
testicles.
Ouch.
Burn.
Cut me deep, Shrek.
I actually like Shane, by the way.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm
It
glad that
was way
somebody
better
did.
than-
Well, so did
Then
you actually
Beckett.
pick a worst?
Right. Nice.
I think Beckett, is the worst.
Because it was so boring.
It was boring, and out of the other ones, because High Noon, we
Weren't
talked
the
about
guys
it.
kind of hot, though? Wasn't that a plus?
Well, it was a plus, but
Some
you
Hot
know.
guys.
Not enough. Not enough.
Not enough to save it.
It must have been just that boring.
It was.
It could have been terrible sex.
That yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
But at least you got wet.
Yeah. Right. There you go. Okay. All right. So that's it for you then, huh?
Yeah,
Wrap-
High Noon was okay because it was the Western for people who don't like Westerns or don't know Westerns.
And it's short.
Yeah, it was short. And then Shane, I didn't hate as much as everyone else. So.
Okay. Well, yeah. I think it's like an Adventures of Babysitting thing. It's not that we
It's not
necessarily
bad, it's
dislike
just-
Shane,
yeah.
but
It's just not a good
It's technically
movie.
the worst.
okay. Birthday boy, your turn. Your timer. Go.
Well, look at this list. I'm actually surprised at how many of these I missed. So I gotta.
Well, why don't you run that list down
Well,
for us really quick?
okay. Which one was High Noon?
The black and white Western with Gary Cooper, where he spends like the whole time looking out the window and shitting in his pants.
He spends the whole time trying to get the town to help him.
Yeah.
Didn't act like a badass.
Was I here
Yeah.
for that one? Because I don't know if I remember
don't
that
think you
one.
were.
I'd have to look on. I tag everybody that's here for them. I'd have to look on the Facebook.
I don't think he was because that was a double feature
You know
with all
what?
that jazz.
I
Oh,
can
then
find out.
then I
Oh,
wasn't
that's
here.
why.
Because
Oh,
that's
okay.
okay. So I missed High Noon. I missed all that jazz. I've seen Yankee Doodle Dandy, but technically I left before we started it, even though I was part of the plan to watch it. It just started
Yes.
too late, and I had plans because it was on the 4th of July, and I had other
But
plans.
you've seen it.
But I've seen it. I missed Beckett, but I've seen it.
Lucky.
And then I was here for LA Confidential and obviously Shane. So
Are you even qualified to do anything?
well, yeah,
You were here for
Dude, I've
you
seen
were here
less
for
than
like
you have.
3 of 7.
I don't know
Well,
how I
and
missed
Wolf of Wall
3
Street?
weeks in a row. I was here for Wolf of Wall Street.
Okay, so that's.
But then somehow I missed because High Noon and all that jazz was the same week, so that was 1 week, and then Yankee Doodle Dandy, and then Beckett. So it's 3 weeks that I missed. But to be fair, it's not my fault. The 2 movies I hadn't seen were on the same week that I wasn't here. But I have seen Yankee Doodle Dandy and Beckett.
I guess at first, if your attendance is going to be spotty, a double feature in a series like that in a theme is going to be kind of a kick in the balls.
Yeah.
because you're automatically missing 2.
But what I should really do is just if I miss something I haven't seen, I'm just going to start
Catch up on it on
catching
the
up,
week.
just watching it during the week or something. Because I feel, as like Condi said, I almost feel like I'm not qualified to speak, having missed so many
As
of
an
these.
educator, I can tell you that we always accept early work, but never late.
Yeah,
So plan ahead next time.
But I don't know what the pick is till they pick it. But yeah, so I'll get bet on that. I promise that to all you in the group and all the listeners of the Cinemarijuana Theatre.
Okay.
That I will do better next time. So going from what I know,
yes.
I gotta say the best one is Yankee Doodle Dandy for me.
All
Now I
right.
haven't seen all that jazz, so I don't know if that would change things.
Right.
But yeah, like we said, we've watched Yankee Doodle Dandy every 4th of July for quite a few years.
Many.
And James Cagney is just the ultimate showman in that. And it's really, you go through so many highs and lows, and it covers such a like a meaty movie to get into
Yeah.
as far as like how much content there is.
Yeah, and blackface.
So much blackface.
Yes,
It's great.
certainly.
But you laugh, you cry,
It's actually quite shocking. Even having seen the film a million times,
It
every
really-
time
yeah,
the
when it
blackface
happens.
comes on,
Yeah.
because it's done without a hint of like shame or irony or anything.
It's like you're looking around to see if there's any black people in the room because you feel like, oh, should I be watching this?
yeah, you're just like,
Yeah, I know, right? You're at home, but it's like,
and
oh.
it's just like, whoa, like, yeah, yikes, dude.
Yeah.
They're not fucking around. Okay,
But that was a thing,
Off to
minstrel
the races.
shows. It's
Yeah.
just, I mean, that's it. I mean, obviously, that shows how old the movie is, and then that shows how old the movie is set too, like how old that part of the movie is. But yeah, so that's a great movie, and I love it, and it's it's definitely
All right.
I think the best one.
least favorite
Least favorite,
or worst.
I guess it would have to be Shane. I honestly, having never seen it, I expected Shane to be a little more two-fisted.
A little more rip roaring.
A little more rip roaring. I figured Shane was going to be like the ultimate badass, and don't get me wrong. Obviously, once he got up and got his shit going, he was really a badass.
Yeah.
But he definitely played the gentle cowboy role for a little while first.
Spends a long time being really clean and pretty.
He's like practices like the zen of being a cowboy. Like, don't go for the gun until you're ready to kill somebody.
Right, which is cool. Like, obviously, it takes a bigger man to not throw that punch or pull that gun. But yeah. And then, like I said, I hate the kid, and that really kills it for me on some level. So yeah. So Shane, even though it was my own pick, hadn't seen it. The worst one.
Okay.
And then most surprising would have to be, I guess, just from what I've seen, would be L.A. Confidential. And for sort of the same reason that what I said about why Chinatown was the most surprising is like having never I've seen most of it before because I'd watched it with
Right.
Ed when you were watching it for your cinema class, and I saw probably 2/3 of it or something. But I didn't know how much I'd missed, and I was expecting it to be harder to follow, and like kind of maybe stuffier or less enjoyable. Or like just one of those plots where it's like, okay, wait, who's that guy and what's going on? But it wasn't like that, and it was really well done. And I mean, they had just a great cast, and everybody's really cool, and great story. I mean, it's really, and it's my time. So yeah, but that's it. Most surprising, LA Confidential.
Yeah.
All right. Chris, back from the dead. He is risen.
Is he qualified to talk about
Yeah, I
this?
think I saw 2 here.
Okay, well, let's well, go ahead. I mean, you're
I think
here.
I saw L.A. Confidential. That's it, actually.
You really?
Well, no, I saw
Shane,
Yankee.
right?
Well, actually, I wasn't here for Shane. I wasn't here for Beckett. I don't think I wasn't here for Yankee Doodle, although
On the 4th?
I know I've seen it. Was I here for that?
I
Maybe I
thought you
was here
were
for that.
on the 4th.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think you were.
It was
here.
part of the summer of Drake.
I know you've seen
been there for a
Beckett.
while.
I've shown you Beckett
Oh, yeah.
before.
Yeah, I've seen Beckett. I've seen. Okay, the only ones I haven't seen are Shane, and and All That Jazz. Except for I saw All That Jazz when I was a kid and I hated it. I just remember
Okay, yeah.
thinking this is horrible. Why?
Why am I doing
I
this?
remember that too. I used to see the beginning on TV. Like
And you're like just
you'd be
all
watching-
kinds of nope.
yeah, you'd be
Yeah.
watching
Like, straight
KTLA, and like I don't know, like Superman 3 would end, and then All That Jazz would start, and it'd be like,
Like garbage.
like what the hell is this?
Gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, couldn't change his channel fast enough.
Why is
But
the lady from King Kong Angel?
I don't think I even got that far. Like
Okay, so which one do you think is the best of the ones you've seen? Give us the best, worst, and
here, I'd have to say LA Confidential was the best one that I saw here.
well, no.
Also,
Have you seen?
If you've seen them at
the
all,
worst one?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
of all the films that you've seen.
Oh well, I loved Wolf of Wall Street. I thought it was really good. I read all the Wikipedia, everything about everything I
About
could
Jordan
read about it.
Belfort and all that stuff.
And I was watching Gilligan's Island, and it was hilarious because Mr. Howell calls himself the Wolf of Wall Street, but he's referring to this other guy. There's two Wolves of Wall Street, but never mind. Anyway,
that's a pretty cool reference though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thurston Howell the Third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finally making his first appearance here at the
Yeah.
Cinemarijuana Theatre.
Long
Well, that's-
overdue.
It's about time
Yeah,
Jim
that's
Backus.
what Thurston Howell was actually based on. Was the original Wolf of Wall Street?
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
No shit.
yeah.
Neat, actually, that's some pretty cool trivia right
Oh,
there.
dude, hey, Gilligan's Island.
Chris, bring
Where
in
the
the
fuck
trivia.
were you when you know?
Dude, yeah, okay.
Same dude inspires one of his supporting characters in Great Gatsby. Who Gatsby does
Oh, I gotta
business
see that.
with,
Wow.
his wealth.
I
His
gotta
name
see
is
that.
Wolfsheim in the book, something like that.
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
something
Thing
Wolf.
there again.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
All right. So Wolf of Wall Street, of all those, you think is the best?
Oh man, the best. Yeah.
Yes.
You know.
Too
Okay,
late
I'm
to
gonna
take
say
it
Wolf.
back.
I'm gonna say LA Confidential actually because although I love Wolf of Wall Street, I think LA Confidential is a better.
You
film.
look like Garth in the Wayne's World sketches when they would do the top 10.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sam. this is most excellent.
All right. So LA Confidential best. What was the worst of the ones you've seen? Well, I guess
I mean,
count All That Jazz.
I can't really count that because I haven't.
You haven't
as
seen
an
it, but it would
adult
be
even.
Shane.
Just trust
judging
us on
by,
this.
Yeah, if I'm gonna go with the consensus, it's Shane now. I kind of liked High Noon. I liked Wolf of Wall Street. I kind of like Yankee Doodle.
I mean, none of them are
I kind of
really
like
bad. I
Beckett.
mean,
Yeah, I'm
because keep in mind, I
sorry.
mean, these
I'm
are
gonna
all
say-
films that were Oscar nominated. So,
I'm gonna say Beckett. I
oh,
guess.
dude, Beckett takes
Sorry.
another.
I'm surprised
You know,
Beckett is really tested so low.
I
Another
love
fucking-
Beckett, but yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Really?
Another
Beckett's on the bottom of that list for you.
How does Beckett compare like A Man for All Seasons? It was about the same time, right? Like a year or two apart.
I don't know. I haven't seen
I
that.
prefer Beckett. Okay.
Yeah, I prefer
don't
Beckett
think
as
I've seen
well.
that.
Okay.
Beckett's like a midnight cowboy with no drugs or poverty. So,
That's fun to imagine.
so another kick to the slats of Beckett. No,
Sorry.
if that's how they
Let me
lay.
get some stiff.
Ed,
That's
Ed
what-
takes
that's what's
another
up.
arrow to the knee.
I do indeed.
I
Man,
didn't
you're like
see
the
Shane.
Beckett
I
to my
haven't
Henry
seen
II.
Shane, though, so
You're
that's-
like my Thomas of Beckett, dude. That's
That's why I
crazy.
went
Actually, probably in real life too. Anyways,
It's funny
if
though
you
that you
wanted
hadn't
to
seen
make-
it because I was thinking, like, come back, Chris, come back. A lot. I mean, weren't here after you died.
Yeah.
all right. Now, so then, if you can, if one of those was a surprise or an interesting selection to you,
I was surprised by how much everybody liked All That Jazz.
okay.
At first, when I saw it right up there, I was like, "Are you kidding me with this shit?" Because I literally haven't seen it since I was like 7 or 8. or
You'd
something like
you'd probably dig it a lot more now.
that. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I
interesting.
guarantee you
I'm
would.
definitely gonna watch it now because. Yeah.
I guarantee you'll do a total 180 on it, just because it's like I don't know the kind of movie it is and what it's about and stuff. It's like it's impossible for a kid to like relate to it or be fascinated by it in any way. I would imagine, and I think like it's not like a slight against kids, but I don't think it's within like your attention span.
No, it wasn't.
To be able to like be like, oh, dude, like, man, Roy Scheider is really fucking like becoming aware of his own mortality. You know what I mean?
I think
it's not something that's happening when you're a little kid.
all I remember is legs. I think from it too.
Oh yeah, there's
There's
that.
a lot of
Like,
that.
like,
Yeah.
a lot of legs.
That could be that. There's the value I can see watching it is particularly as a young boy is all these chicks
That's what drew me in.
wearing
and
these,
Yeah,
then
there's
these
just
super
tons of
tight, all the skin.
so
Naked.
beyond anything I want to.
Okay, all right, on to you, Condi, and go.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious what my best one's going to be. Out of
Shane?
those, it's definitely all that
Beckett.
jazz.
Rats.
Well, Beckett is definitely not my worst pick.
Oh,
I did
yeah.
enjoy Beckett
Oh, it's
immensely.
gonna be. Oh, I know what yours is.
Oh yeah, you know.
Okay, all right. Well, okay, so Beckett, or I'm sorry, all that jazz.
Yeah,
Best,
I mean,
best
and,
what?
Let it go, Ed. Let it go.
It's not
Freudian
you.
slip. Freudian slip.
I mean, and just for like that ending number alone,
Yeah,
where it, you
with
know,
Ben Vereen.
with Ben Vereen, I love that ending with Ben Vereen. You know, and it speeds up and slows down. Like you,
He's such
you,
a wonderful
You
touch.
imagine like this is his heartbeat that's going through, and then finally when it's ends, he's dead.
Yep.
You know?
It ends on a toe tag, right? They
Yeah.
slap
Yeah.
him on and more.
Well, they just zip him up, and that's
Yeah.
it. That's
Yeah.
the ending. It just cuts
It's
to
very
that.
startling,
Boom.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it!
But I always
Watch it anyways.
imagine
Spoiler
that,
alert.
Watch it anyways. Here's the thing, though: if you end up going to Wiki, it's based on a real guy who's really dead anyway. So it's like
Yeah.
his
Life already spoiled it
It's
for
okay.
you.
yeah,
I'm
life
sure.
already.
Yeah.
I'll
It
forget.
was a life,
The show is full of
a life
spoilers.
spoiler.
But yeah, I mean, I always imagine that ending number is like this is his heart, doing its last hurrah, and then finally it's done. And he's gone. He's dead.
And wouldn't it be cool if we could all end life that way?
Dude, in a
Starring in
sweet-ass
some
number like that.
fantastic musical number that just
Dude.
brings the house down.
Oh
You
man.
find
You
me.
know,
I
with all of
want
our
to
loved
find like
ones
a
in
great
attendance.
toe tapping black guy like Ben Vereen, and I'm on it.
Yeah. What do you think it costs to book Ben Vereen these days? We should get him down here.
Dressed as Mayor Ben from Zoobilee Zoo.
Oh God.
And then I think, with the exception of like Garrett and Chris here, everybody's gonna know my worst. It's the Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Hey,
That's
not,
right.
not Shane.
You were not a fan.
No, I could not fucking stand that movie. I wanted to stab my dick every bit of that 3 hours.
I would have hooked you up. You should have told me that. You should have expressed that feeling to me.
just so I could feel something. I mean,
One of those really
it was
long
great
quotes.
for like maybe an hour, but then it was rinse and repeat the next 2 hours.
was.
I'm
Right.
like, fuck this noise, man. I
when
just
the movie was before it came out and it was being marketed and all that, did you anticipate it being really bitchin'?
well, it looked like it was going to be good, and then I had tons of friends that had seen this movie, and were usually kind of like-minded.
Yeah,
I won't hate it.
Right.
I
You
may
overlap
not
opinion.
like it as much as they do, but I won't hate it. And like everybody's all like, "Oh my God, you haven't seen that movie?" They're all like, "Let's throw some more cash at that fucking movie and go see it again." And I had friends that saw it like 3 or 4 times in the theaters, and they were just all like, "Oh, it's so fucking cool!" And I don't know what I was doing, but I just never made it to the theater to watch it. And it's just one of those things. I just never went to go see it, and then I saw it here, and I was all like,
Sucks.
if I could jump off this balcony face first, I would.
That's always an option.
Yeah, that might be. It might be. I'm just gonna go with that as my surprise as well, because
You were surprised by how little you liked it.
Yeah.
You didn't know it was gonna
yeah,
be that bad.
because like
That's
Shane
hilarious.
and High Noon, they're great Western movies, but they are of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And-
Especially Shane. I feel like Shane is like just really so super reflective of like kind of the mildness
Yeah.
that society
That era,
kind
yeah.
of like would prefer.
And,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
High Noon's so like into it. It's like, what would I do if this guy's this guy's coming to kill you?
Yeah.
I'd probably be scared shitless a little bit, especially when no one wants to help me out, and it's one dude.
Yeah.
But all these movies are all really, really good, and it's just, I'm sorry, Kenzie. It's just you thought Beckett was boring as shit, and I loved it. I just could not stand Wolf of Wall Street at all. I mean, it felt like pissing glass.
Ooh,
You might want to get that
my
checked out.
goodness, for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, you
And
gotta
like
just go to
being
a
in
doctor,
hell.
you get a shot, you can clear that right up.
I hope so. And to piggyback on extra stories of theaters, I went to go see Catch Me If You Can, and it was the very last 15 minutes where Hanratty finds him, and he's ready to go jump on the plane, and he's all like, I'm going to let you go. And, you do what you want to do, and we'll see what happens. And boom, the entire theater lost power.
Did he go? Did he come back?
I didn't know for a couple of days. That's all
To this day, I still don't know.
Well, that and
If you can means a lot in that.
and I've never seen The Sixth Sense either. So, even though I got spoiled on that on fucking Conan O'Brien.
Somebody was gonna spoil that eventually.
How have you never seen that though?
I didn't. I had bought the DVD and I was like, oh, it came out on DVD, great. And I'd gone the entire time without hearing a goddamn thing about it.
Like you were on your way home to watch it, and some dipshit on the bus is like, hey, did you hear about that?
I bought it. I put it up on the thing. It was late, and I wasn't going to watch it. I was going to watch it the next day because I had an earlier shift. And then I'm watching Conan. I'm watching Conan, and this is when, fat fuck Andy, before he left, like the idiot he was.
Well, he came back.
But he came back because he couldn't, find work anywhere.
His sitcom didn't take off.
I really wish it did.
And
it was funny.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
And he's just sitting on the couch,
Yes,
and they're
exactly.
talking about like, oh yeah, Sixth Sense just came out on DVD, blah blah blah. And he's all like, yeah, everybody's gonna find out that he's really dead. And I didn't think about it, and like, I wouldn't have thought like, oh, he's just fucking around. Except Conan was just fucking just shocked, genuinely shocked, like, I can't believe you just said that.
Man.
And then, like, really, like, a month later, like, Andy had left the show.
That's like that.
The shame.
That
fuzzy
was
cut
the
up.
middle finger.
So
I
went
remember
and
watching that, too.
And I returned that
Ultimate party
DVD,
foul.
and I've never seen the movie.
M. Night Shyamalan's only good film.
Okay.
Well, it was all
Ultimate-
downhill from there.
Yeah, well,
Ultimate party foul.
Now they're just they're
Steeply.
All right.
yeah.
All right. Let's keep it rolling along. Dr. Matlis.
Okay.
Go.
Well, I think this was the same week that I missed, that John missed, so it was the double feature. So I haven't seen High Noon or All That Jazz.
Oh,
It was a
no.
bad week to not be here.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
yeah. Well, I don't know about High Noon, but I mean, I'm saying I haven't heard that many praises for it this round.
That's not bad.
But yeah, I'm gonna have to catch up on both of those because I mean, I knew the week afterwards that All That Jazz was getting a lot of hype, and now it like obviously again it's like
It
right on the
doesn't-
top of the pile.
It doesn't get hype; it stays hype.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah,
It
so
doesn't
I'm
get hype,
definitely
it
gonna have
is
to
hype.
revisit that. But from the ones that I have seen, let me see. Wolf of Wall Street, I thought was good. I didn't really think it was like a rinse and repeat kind of thing. There was definitely new stuff going through.
It
The
was,
whole
there was
plot
a
of the
decline.
movie.
I mean, obviously,
It-
it was
It was
like-
it was living to excess and like
right.
the
It was
decline.
building to a breaking point.
Yeah.
on
So,
some
well,
level,
yeah.
so.
I'm not gonna pick that one. Let's see. Yankee
Good
Doodle
for you.
Dandy is a really fantastic movie, but since All That Jazz is out for me, I'm gonna have to pick Beckett.
Hey.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ding, ding,
Sweet.
Finally.
Ding, 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 ding.
It's
I'm
good
changing
to
my
see
biggest
somebody in
surprise.
this group with some taste.
Yes.
Dude, I see someone that's getting an over-the-pants handy from Ed today.
Oh.
How do you
All
think
right.
you
Well,
got that vote?
all right.
would
so-
you like to go into that a little bit more? Tell us if you would why Beckett is just so rad.
And really tell us slowly.
Just
know,
burn
with-
up my
with-
remaining 4
Right,
minutes.
right.
Yeah.
I want to let it steep.
Can you get your lips a little closer to the mic?
No, it was just I saw this was the second time that I saw this movie. I'd seen it once before, and it's one of those movies that you have to see more than once. And actually,
I was like, no.
yeah,
I totally disagree.
and what did help was that like after watching it the first time, and then I went back and watched The Lion in Winter, which is also a Henry II kind of movie
With O'Toole.
with O'Toole, which was filmed a couple years after, and it was interesting to see like how he kind of progressed the character.
Right.
Because in Beckett, it's a much younger guy,
Sure.
a lot cockier,
Yeah.
hasn't been having to go through the whole kingly rigmarole
He hasn't
of keeping your kingdom.
He hasn't been crushed by the weight of regality.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But then, like, going back and watching it a second time, it's just a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
And just the relationship between the two. And
So passionate.
yeah, there's a lot of passion in there, and just a lot of big concepts. Like if you get thrust into into a position where you have so much responsibility, it's like what are you gonna do with that once you're in that kind of position?
Right.
You know,
no matter even no matter what your intention was going there. Like morally, like you have like decisions to make now.
Yeah.
About like where you're going to take this thing.
You gotta just go till you explode.
Yeah. That's it.
keep thrusting.
Right.
Okay. Well, for the sake of brevity,
okay,
so Beckett is your favorite. Now, what was your least favorite?
I would have to say Shane.
It is.
Too.
Yeah.
Matho.
Yes. I'm sorry, John.
Oh, I'm calling John Summer.
I can't believe I feel like I let the group down. I pulled a Summer.
No.
John, you're fired.
It was just, I don't know.
It was the kid, wasn't it?
It was the kid.
It was the kid.
It was that fucking kid. No, it just didn't strike me. I mean, there was some really cool things about it. Which we discussed in that podcast because all the movies are good. I think it's just
I can't wait to listen to that podcast.
Shane was just happy.
Yeah.
All right.
Jack Palance is awesome in there.
Yeah, of course.
Big plus.
Now your biggest surprise or most interesting?
That's gonna be Yankee Doodle Dandy.
You had not seen it prior.
I had not seen it, and from just like going from my previous perception of. Help me out. Cagney. Thank you.
From
Cagney.
Angels with Dirty Faces, yeah.
Yeah, it's just that movie just blew me away. I mean, the guy is such a showman.
Yeah.
And his character is just hilarious and so quick-witted. And there's so much stuff that you just kind of have to like rewind a little bit and be like, okay, what did he say? Like because he's sarcastic as all fuck.
Yeah.
And he's just letting everybody have it.
Right.
And it's just great.
But it's a cerebral sarcasm, so you gotta,
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And his dancing is amazing.
Yes, especially the scene we talked about at the end there.
Okay.
So there it is.
So let's start the timer on me. All right. So I've got 5 minutes to talk about Beckett, right?
Yeah, I see Beckett getting another vote.
I'm just getting a standby on that. I don't know. Now, okay, see, I first want to say that I know that sort of High Noon and Shane have been mentioned in context together because they're both Westerns. They're both from damn near. I mean, they're from consecutive years.
Yeah. Both apparently not that good, although both nominated for Best Picture,
or at least not that popular here. And both sort of floating at the bottom of people's lists. I just want to say for the record, so I'm starting with my worst. I'm not going to say my best yet. My worst is Shane. Okay, so Shane was rad, and it made me think about a lot of stuff. Like I said on the podcast, I thought it was like an interesting kind of like sort of celebration of violence and sort of a treatise on like masculinity and sort of almost kind of I felt that I could pretend there was these subtexts going on. That may or may not have actually been.
But you could dig into it
there.
If you
but
I
felt, yeah, and there was some great stuff. Obviously, Jack Palance looking like Tetsuya Nekadai was kick ass. There was some great scenes. There was some really beautiful photography. But I got to put High Noon like way above Shane, just because High Noon felt like it felt like a Twilight Zone the movie almost. Like you didn't have like the kind of twist end that Twilight Zone is like known for. Or at least sort of stereotypically known for, but sometimes like the twist wasn't so like twisty, and like the way it was shot and sort of the pacing and the way that suspense and tension was created, I felt was very sort of effective. So Shane is my worst, and I just felt like High Noon was a lot more entertaining than Shane was.
More entertaining than The Greatest Show on Earth. Fuck that film.
Yeah, which I almost kind of want.
Right.
I almost want to watch now, just because it's received so much.
It's terrible.
derision.
It's so bad. Zeb, damn you.
Even Charlton Heston is in that film. Yeah.
God.
Garrett has PTSD from that.
Dude, we all do. That film is terrible.
It is.
I don't think I've seen
PTGSOESD. Charlton Heston is in
I
that
have to
film,
see it,
right?
actually.
And even he can't save it with his
Charlton
screen chewing.
Heston, Jimmy Stewart.
His screen
Yeah,
chewing
Stewart.
machismo.
There's a
cat.
great cast in that movie. It's
And
just
it's just
the movie's
boring.
shit.
Okay. All right. So my worst is Shane. Now on to my best. This is tough.
I'll say thank you now.
Well, I know, right? Okay, so really the three
Get the lotion.
the three that it comes down to for me are obviously Beckett, Yankee Doodle Dandy, and all that jazz. Now, Yankee Doodle Dandy I put on par basically. That's the kind of filmmaking to me like Mary Poppins, where it's virtually flawless, but it's almost like a Spielberg film in that it's so palatable to everybody. Like it's almost safe. It's not that it's not good at all, but like it's super.
It's not a challenging movie in some ways.
Right.
Like, it's a favorite. Like it's like I said, it's the thing you put on in the holidays.
Yeah,
it's a beloved American favorite.
It's
And
like
it's
watching
good-
A Christmas Story.
Because,
exactly.
Yeah, but and it's not like it's not like Vape It or it's not.
Other than the blackface, that could challenge
it's
some
still
people.
high art, you know what I mean? Well, it's a record of its. It's a historical record of the time it was shot and the time it's reflecting. My love for Beckett, obviously, obviously I dig that film quite a bit. Now, all that jazz. All right, so my pick for my favorite one is also my pick for my biggest surprise, which is All That Jazz. Like All That Jazz, it is better than every other film on this list to me because it sort of slaps you in the face with how a creativity and a fresh perspective on something can take something that you can write off and make it new. Like who would have, like, people talk about Singing in the Rain as the greatest musical. Like, fuck that. All That Jazz.
It's showtime.
I think people feel that way about Singing in the Rain because it sucks Hollywood's dick hardcore. And Hollywood loves movies that love Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
And All That Jazz is kind of not so much about Hollywood. It's about theater, and it's about a dude. But the thing of it is to take sort of the musical, and I know they've nominated shit like, Chicago and Les Mis and all that kind of stuff, but they don't do the same thing that All That Jazz does in that they make a film that is sort of so interesting and it's visually compelling and it's this genre that you think of for light fare, but it's telling this really deep, dark personal story about this guy that anybody who's ever been introspective can relate to parts of it, even if it not literally, if he's not doing the same thing you've done, like. It's like the same. Even if the specifics are different, metaphorically, it's the same thing. People, you can relate to that film, and it makes you think about your life as well. And I think that's why it becomes so like emotionally effective because you kind of, in some way, I gotta shut up.
Man.
In some way, you put yourself up. You in some way you see yourself in Bob Fosse. So thank God I set this timer. So anyways,
Would you say it was all that?
my best one. I would say it was all that, to the point where I actually considered that I should change my name to Alvin Thaddeus Jazz, so that my name would be Al Thad Jazz.
Nice.
As if like that.
Yeah,
You got $50?
it's all downhill from here.
We can go to the Hall of Records right
I
now.
thought it was 100. So
We have
yeah.
a whip around. I think everybody would pitch in on that.
So there's that. In retrospect,
Pass around the hat.
I realized I should have been taking little tally marks on who picked what, but I think it's safe to say.
All That Jazz was
On that.
I think it's safe to say All That Jazz won. You blew it, Oscar.
Yeah.
And
Shane
and
lost.
compared to let's see how much time do
Go
we
away,
actually
Shane.
have left?
Shane.
Go away.
Oh, we've only got 6 minutes left. Anyways, perfect. This timer thing worked out this time. That's great.
I think the consensus was All That Jazz was the best. Shane probably the worst. And then I think there was maybe 3 or 4 for LA Confidential is most surprising.
So probably that
The people
Yeah,
who didn't
by
see
yeah.
either one of those
margin.
movies.
Well, so let's take a look. 1979, All That Jazz was nominated alongside Norma Rae, breaking away Apocalypse Now and the film that they all lost to, Kramer versus Kramer.
Oh my god. Apocalypse Now.
So I think then.
really.
To conclude the "You Blew It" Oscar theme, did
Oscar clearly blew it.
Oscar blew it?
Yeah.
I think it's safe to
blew
say
it.
that for our winning
Apocalypse
film.
Now would have been a fine choice, and I don't think anything's wrong with Kramer versus Kramer, but it's not the level of this other stuff.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all. There's
And
just
which is
not
going to
the
be
level.
watched in this day and age. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Some
Right.
movies that like don't win hold up longer in society.
Yeah.
Yeah, Garrett's not showing his 18-year-olds like Kramer versus Kramer.
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
showing.
I do show an excerpt of it, but it's not how you read it. Because I do, as the coincidence works, except it's not about the genius of it, except it does exhibit like an interesting way to unravel a character. Because I don't know if y'all knew this, but people got divorced in 1979. Were you aware? Yeah. It was shocking. You know, in its time. No.
What a world.
Salacious, I think, is the word.
Love the smell of napalm in the morning.
What a bomb! Just blowing suburbia wide open. Okay, so Oscar, you blew it, and that means that the theme was a success.
Have you
We
all
win.
seen, by the way, Apocalypse Now, the Redux?
Redux?
Yeah.
That's the only one that I've seen.
Oh, and I think that's probably to your credit. I think it's a much more complete.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
longer.
It is
Much longer.
It
Oh,
felt
Oh,
it
you hear that,
definitely
Kenzie?
felt longer.
Kenzie
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
not.
Wait on
She
that.
would not
Yeah.
like that movie at all.
But
Yeah.
I feel like the additional footage.
It's
put back
slow.
The part in the mezzanine, the maison or whatever, the part with the French house.
When they go
Yeah.
right, they're,
Yeah.
they're going up the history of Indochina.
But I mean, I feel like that part was just the film did kind of come off the rails a little
Yeah.
bit right there.
It's totally understandable. Why
I can
they
s-
excised
right,
it.
right. I can see why they cut
Yeah.
that because it was. I mean, obviously, yeah, it was definitely a history lesson, but it was wow. Like they really parked the movie for.
Yeah.
A few.
She's gonna go hang out with this lady for a while.
Yeah,
Under
really.
God, and they're not gonna say
They
much.
parked the film like they parked their boat when they got off.
And where's Lawrence Fishburne? I mean, is he back at the boat?
No, he was Larry Fishburne
That's right,
credited
that's
in
right.
the movie.
All right, so we're more or less out of time then. So that's perfect timing for wrapping this up. And we don't know what we're watching tonight, but it's a free-for-all theme.
I could tell you what we're watching because I'm gonna win.
If you, just keep,
Well, but
You
don't
said
tell
that
us.
last
keep that
All
under
that
wraps.
jazz too. It's just pretend.
It's even jazzier.
Bob Fosse wakes up in a cryogenic vault,
Yeah.
like underneath Disneyland or something.
It's a hat and a cane and.
All right, let's do go around the table and do outroductions clockwise. I'm Ed.
I'm Zeb.
I'm Garrett.
I'm Kenzie.
I'm John.
I'm Chris.
I'm Kenzie.
And I'm Matt.
And we are Las Películas Sábados Gigantes at the Cinemarijuana Theatre.
Every time.
And we will we'll be back later tonight with more shenanigans for the birthday
And drunk.
celebration.
Yes, we'll be drunker.
Oh, be sure to turn into that.
Last time
Only
we're
that
sober
one.
tonight.
Only if we start drinking
We're gonna.
during the movie.
We're gonna.
You hear that, birthday boys?
Okay.
I hear by
the
decree.
edict has been delivered. All right, we need to
The
get to
booze
it then.
begins.
So that'll do it for us. We'll see you, very shortly. Thank you.
Goodbye.